And now it's time for our Mike's Hard Lemonade discovery of the day. Who's that guy? On May 26, 1978, Dwight Evans hit 2. Jim Rice hit 1, but it was his 16th of the year to lead the Red Sox to a 6-3 win over Detroit. Jim Ed would finish with a Major League leading 46 home runs on his way to the American League Most Valuable Player Award. Also 400 total bases that year for Jim Rice. And just like Dennis Eckersley, he smiles a little bit when he sees his own highlights. Time now to head down to the Bronx once again. Gordon Eads standing by with Tom Karen. And yes, Tommy, there's baseball outside of New England as well.
Yeah, none of it matters, but we're here to talk a little about it because everything that happens here is much more important than anything else happening in baseball today. But while we watch Nomar Garciaparra's hitting streak continue, there's another one just behind him.
How about that, Tommy? You know, Kenny Lofton is a guy who came into spring training without a job, without a team. He signed late with the Pittsburgh Pirates for just over $1 million. This is a guy who was making $8 million for the Indians just 2 years ago. He's hitting 23 in a row, which matches the longest streak in Pirates history since Al Oliver in 1974. He's going for Maury Will's 24-game streak in 68. So he's got his average over 300, 302, I think, playing some good ball.
And in the National League, the Dodgers are playing great. Talk about their winning streak right now.
You know, it's funny, Tommy, we talked about Eric Gagne last week, but the starting pitching has been exceptional. They're 10-0 with a 1.63 ERA during this winning streak. Yesterday, Kevin Brown held the Brewers to 4 singles. Our old friend Hideo Nomo took a no-hitter into the 7th on Saturday. Dryford struck out a career-high 12 in his last start. Then you got Odalis Perez and Kazuishi rounding out that rotation. So they're only half game behind the Giants, and the Giants are missing Barry Bonds. Crashed into a wall Friday. He's got chronic tendonitis in his knee, flared up on him over the weekend. That's a situation they're going to be watching closely.
And Gagne has been lights out as a closer for the Dodgers.
He's been unbelievable. I mean, he had saves in 6 straight during their winning streak. And, I mean, the combination, their ERA as a staff is 2.68 right now, which is unheard of in, you know, this offensive pinball era.
While the Yankees are struggling in the American League here in New York, there's a National League struggle to find love here in New York.
I'm telling you, Tommy. And you know, we have to do our public service here. You know, Randy Wolf, Phillies pitcher, was in Grand Central Station last Friday when the Phillies were here. A young woman, apparently an attractive young woman, came up and asked him for directions. Randy got her first name, and that's it. And he's talking about taking out ads in the New York papers to try to find Liz. Liz in suede brown bell-bottoms. There's an email address. You can contact the Phillies Public Relations Department if you want to get in touch with Randy. So, hey, maybe she was a Boston girl, you know?
We have to talk to Jerry Remy about putting a link on his website so that you can help them get them together.
Well, the Remy report is just stocked with so much stuff. I don't know if he's got room for that, but Wolfie's on his own.
All right, Gordon Eads with us for the Baseball Notebook. Now we go back to our NESN studios in Boston.
Tommy, I don't believe there's even a woman. He's just trying to see how many women will email him.
Hey, why not if it works?
All right, Tommy, thanks a lot. That's Tom Karen and Gordon Eads. Time now for our Boston Globe commentary. Dan Shaughnessy says all this hoopla surrounding Roger Clemens is nice, but let's not forget that the Yankees right now, they're a baseball team that's struggling in a very big way.
Well, here we are at Yankee Stadium, and the big story of the day, of course, is Roger Clemens going for his 300th victory. Roger Clemens, who won 192 games for the Boston Red Sox. There's another big story unfolding here in New York with this baseball team, the Yankee baseball team. This is a team that has just lost 11 out of 14 games, 11 out of 12 home games. They've also lost 4 of the last 5 series. The Sox lead them by a game and a half, which has been something the Sox have done the last few years, be ahead of the Yankees in May or June. But this time it may hold up, because the Yanks are coming apart a little bit. Mr. Matsui, who was brought in from Japan to hit a lot of home runs, has only hit 3 home runs. Bernie Williams is out for 6 weeks with a knee problem. And of course, the Yankee Giambi, the one who's a former MVP of the American League, is doing almost as bad as the Giambi who's playing for the Red Sox. So you do have to wonder when the fat man rings in on this, when the phone rings and George Steinbrenner steps forward and tries to run his GM or his manager out of town. Stay tuned, Sox fans. This could be a good year for the Red Sox to watch what happens here in Yankee Stadium.
Dan Shaughnessy sounds optimistic again from the land of Red Sox Nation. Log on to boston.com/sports. Give him your feedback. And while you're there, answer today's poll question. Want to know, do you think Roger Clemens will get number 300 today? Log on to boston.com/sports. We'll have the results after the game on WB Mason's Extra Innings. But up next, Jerry Remy joins us from a soggy stadium to discuss the Rocket and more. Welcome back to our Fenway Park studios. Bob Rogers alongside former Red Sox slugger Jim Ed Rice. And now we bring in former Red Sox second baseman Jerry Remy. And Rem, again, we have another one of those days that it's all Roger Clemens all the time. Hopefully, if we play baseball today with the weather down there. I want to ask both of you guys, do you think Roger Clemens will be the final guy to win 300?
I would think so. One of them anyway, because I don't think anyone is going to pitch that long. And like Roger said, he pitched for 20 years. And, of course, to have the teams that you're having right now, I don't think guys have to stay around that long to do that and to make the money they want to make. So I don't think anyone's just going to do it.
Make the money, get out. Jerry, how about you?
Well, I guess the closest guy is Maddox at this point, and I'm not sure he's going to get to it. You know, it takes a lot. It takes, obviously, to be healthy for a long stretch of time. It takes incredible determination and work ethic to get to this point. And it also takes some breaks. I mean, you got to play for some good ball clubs to get to that mark. So, you know, you never say never about records and getting to certain milestones, but it's going to be awful tough, I think, for somebody else to do that.
Jerry, do you think Joe Torre's kind of in an awkward position today with the weather out there? I mean, Roger's going for the milestone. Sometimes you want to use kid gloves on a day like this, but again, emotions sometimes take over.
Well, everybody that's come to this park today, if there's baseball to be played, they're here to see Roger Clemens win the ball game. So, you know, whatever Torre has to do, I don't think he's going to make a late scratch, obviously, of Clemens. And I don't think they'll start this game unless they're perfectly sure that they can play without a rain delay the rest of the way. So I don't think there's, you know, much of a chance that that's going to happen. Torre's going to sit in that clubhouse like everybody else, wait till this thing, see if it stops raining and get Roger out there. And I don't think you're going to be able to push Roger off. I think he wants to go today regardless.
Jimmy, how about this? 4,000 strikeouts, 300 wins. Which do you think is more impressive?
Both. but I think Roger pushing for the 300 wins right now. And if he gets 300 wins, no doubt about it, he's going to go for the 4,000 strikeouts.
Jerry, which one do you think is more impressive of the two stats?
Certainly the wins. You know, I mean, that's 300 wins you're going to get for the clubs you're playing for, and you've been a major contributor to those ball clubs, and I think that's obviously a bigger one. The strikeouts, you know, you look where Nolan Ryan is with those numbers. I don't know if anybody could ever top that, but yet, you know, Clemens has got the more Cy Youngs, and he's been on better teams than Nolan Ryan was on. So I think the 300 wins is certainly something that's going to probably mean more to him than the strikeouts.
Jerry, do you believe Roger Clemens when he says this is it this year? I mean, he's a guy that understands baseball history, and he's got a chance to get into the top 10 in wins. Obviously has a chance to become the second all-time strikeout leader in baseball history. Do you think he'll really call it quits?
I really don't know, Bob. You know, he says he may do that, but, you know, let's say this guy goes on a run in the second half of the season and pitches great baseball. The Yankees make it to postseason. They go on, and it's another exciting October for New York. I mean, it's quite possible that he'd like to come back for another year. Look, physically, he can do it. I mean, we watched him last week at Fenway Park, and he looks the same as he did a couple of years ago. It's going to be his decision whether he feels he's got the milestones that he wants to get accomplished at the end of this year. But I think he can continue on and still be successful at the major league level, but that's obviously a personal decision he's going to have to make.
Jimmy, he's certainly talking like it's going to be over at the end of this year, but I think Jerry makes a good point. Physically, he looks like he could keep going.
I think it's a family issue. I think Roger's going to sit down and talk with his family and see what happens as far as playing another year, and I think the family get together and Roger say, well, hey, kids, what you think? Because I think the kids play a great part in Roger's life, and they say, Dad, you have a little more time to go out and make history. Why not go out and make it?
Jerry, talking about history finally, nobody ever wants to be like the final out in a no-hitter or the final guy in a 20-strikeout game. Do you think that goes through Red Sox hitters' minds today? I mean, Roger probably won't go the distance, but do they think of that?
I don't think so. You know, I think a lot of these guys on the Red Sox team now obviously don't even know Roger Clemens except, you know, being an opponent against them. So I think for the Red Sox is come out here and just try to beat him today. Now, if he's, you know, goes 9 innings in this game and he happens to close it out, I think you can't help on the other side to get caught up in history. There's no question about that. But I don't think the Red Sox came to this ballpark today thinking, oh, you know, this is Roger's 300th. You know, we hope we can beat him. We're going to try. I think it's just really another game for them against the New York Yankees. But again, as it goes on deeper in the game, they might get caught up in it.
All right, Jerry, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Jerry Remy hopefully calling the game this afternoon here on NESN with Don Orsillo. Tomorrow in the Boston Globe, this is what you'll be reading about, of course, a complete recap from the stadium and lots of post-game reaction from Roger Clemens and company and a preview of the Stanley Cup Finals. It's all in the Globe tomorrow. Sullivan Tire brings us our keys to the game and the pitching matchup.
The pitching matchup, Tim Wakefield, Roger Clemens, rematch of last week. And, of course, in my mind, I thought that Wakefield, I pitched Roger last week, and I hope he does it this time. but I hope we come out on the winning edge.
How about from your perspective, the weather? I mean, how much of a factor will that be for Roger Clemens today?
I don't think that would bother Roger at all. I don't think it would bother either team. I think they have something to prove, and this is what they want to go out and do. The Red Sox at the zoo, they're facing Roger Clemens. He's going for the 300, and we're going to try to take advantage of that.
All right, we're going to keep you company until we play baseball, but right after this, you'll hear from Don and Jerry. Stand by for Boston Red Sox baseball, the Red Sox and Yankees, and it is coming up on NESN. Enjoy the game.